looking at. So when it comes to a variety of different bioenergy options, they're all on the table. So maybe just building a little bit on what was said before, the off-grid energy challenge is massive. We've got significant use of not just propane, but a massive oil market, still a really substantial coal, solid fuel market across the world. And in order to address that, as I said before, we're going to need a mix of solutions. With that be things like bio-LPG, it could be direct biomass, it could be biogas and biomethane as well. And DME is one of the new kids on the block, where there's a lot of talk about, as you can see just from the panel today, but something that is really beginning to make significant headway in this space. And it's something that certainly, I think in 2023, both with your announcement today, Cinch, and from Oberon, and just in general, you'll be hearing a lot more about DME moving forward. So, on to what we're doing at Dymeter in terms of addressing this challenge. We were formed just over a year ago, so we just celebrated our first birthday, which is a nice milestone to have reached. So as I say, we've been around for just over a year. We were brought together by SHV Energy, Keith, who you heard from before, but also another company called UGI International. So these are two of the biggest off-grid energy suppliers in the world who've come together and showcased this commitment again to producing renewable fuels, and that's where Dymeter was born. So we cover the whole supply chain, essentially, in terms of our engagement with DME. So all the way from producing it through to wholesaling it to the LPG industry, and overseeing things like the technical trials and involved in the technical trials. You saw all the work that was going on, which Cinch put up on the screen earlier. We're kind of embedded and interwoven through a lot of these things. So all the way down from identifying partners, both on a feedstock perspective through to a technology perspective, and I'll talk a little bit about some of the plants and partnerships that we have in place, things that have been announced quite recently, some things from last year. But also around advocacy, and this is very much my bread and butter. So I do all the government relations, someone has to do it, and supposedly that's me. But working with policymakers is a really important thing that the whole industry, including I know representations from the World Biogas Association, others need to be doing. Because if we continue kind of down a kind of one-size-fits-all approach, and the variety of solutions don't get the recognition or the support that they get in public policy, then we're going to be in exactly the same place as we are in 10 years' time when we won't move forward. So it's really, really important that we capitalise on this momentum, not just for DME, but I think in general for a lot of off-grid bioenergy solutions right now. I'm going to skip over why the LPG market, because I think you've had that well enough previously. But again, the focus for me is a little bit about why waste. And again, it comes back to this circular economy principle, circularity principle of let's solve problems and create solutions at the same time. As I said before, at Dymeter, we're feedstock agnostic, so this is just one of the routes that we're looking at. There are others, but again, similar to technologies, there's no one-size-fits-all approach to this. And actually, producing fuels from waste provides a big opportunity. Particularly, as someone who, I've been to a variety of different countries, and each country has their own challenge when it comes to waste, but waste is always a problem in most places. It's something that is, by working with waste, we can encourage better collection, we can work towards, more ambitious targets when it comes to reducing waste, but again, throughout every projection that is generally out there, there's always going to be a waste problem, so let's try and work with it in the short to medium term. So one of the ways that we're doing this is that through our first major project at Dymeter is that we're working with a company called Circular Fuels. Circular Fuels are actually just based literally down the road in Wednesbury, near the local IKEA. If you are local to the West Midlands, that is where we are. I use that generally as a geographical pinpoint for me in the car. But Circular Fuels, again, is a kind of landmark coming together of a local company called Q Technology and ourselves to create Circular Fuels. And what we're doing is we're going to be putting our first plant, which is converting around 220,000 tonnes of waste into 50 to 60,000 tonnes of DME. We're going to be doing this at Teesside, so we announced back in April, May last year that our first plant would be in Teesside and that will be operational in 2025. To put this into context, and this is going back to a little bit to my previous role where I used to work for the UK LPG industry, the amount of product that's coming out of that is about equivalent to 25% of the UK LPG's domestic usage. So for homes and just for home heating, cooking, so it can make a significant dent. Even though it might not seem like a great deal of product, it actually can have a really, really big impact when it comes to the UK LPG industry decarbonising. Here's just a sneak peek in terms of the first look at the plant. There's some more pictures that are available online if you go onto our website, and a fancy thing where you can be on like a video and go around and have a look at it. You can tell that I personally wasn't involved in generating that from my very technical overview of it. But you can get a feel for what it's going to look like on Teesside. And again, if you're keeping abreast of things that are going on with local clusters and investment zones, you'll see there's a lot of investment that is going to Teesside and continued funding and support that's going there. Another thing that we're doing is that we're not just stopping there, so we're looking at other ways that we can utilise waste. So we recently partnered with a company called Enerchem, who you may be familiar with. They're quite well known in the bioenergy and bioeconomy space. We're looking at plants for producing renewable and recycled carbon DME with them as well. They're already a leader in the methanol space, and we'll be looking at larger plants. So as I say before, what we were looking at was 50 KT. With someone like Enerchem, we're looking at the potential for things like 150 KT size plants. So again, that's making a bigger dent in terms of the impact to the LPG market in certain geographies. We're looking at North America and Europe, just as much as we are with another recent partnership that we announced with a company called NextChem, who are based in Italy. So again, looking at a similar process of conversion. Again, waste is a challenge not just in Italy, but also globally. So again, big opportunities there. I think this was, to put it into context, as I said before, in terms of how we're looking at feedstocks and looking at technologies, we are agnostic, and waste, let's say, is an opportunity that we can still explore. There's other routes to get DME over onto process, and what you were talking about earlier in terms of biogas, which is one route. We can also use other biomass feedstocks. There's a lot of different opportunities, and the industry is really capitalising on the moment. So, collaboration is key. We're really open to hearing from people across the whole value chain, and be really interested in terms of any conversations that anybody wants to have over the course of today and tomorrow. Already had some very promising conversations, and we'll move on to discussion, because I really don't want to be the last person keeping you all from going home and going to a very nice dinner this evening. So with that, thank you very much.
Thank you.